If a simple workbench is to be configured, a configuration example can be taken from the Workbench folder. To configure this, click on Configure below. Firstly, the material of the workbench top can be changed. The available widths of this panel can be selected in the corresponding menu. The available depths can also be selected for the depth. The height or worktop thickness depends on the selected material and can only be changed for certain worktops. For versions, there is a choice of panels with back panels or edge protection angles. The color of the accessories changes the color of all substructures of the workbench top, such as workbench feet or drawer cabinets. The workbench height changes the height under the top. For the substructure on the left, either a workbench leg or drawer cabinet can be selected, each with a flush position or standard position. Selection menus appear for the width, depth, and height of the cabinet. The drawer cabinet can be configured by clicking on it. However, this should only be done once the entire workbench has been defined, otherwise the layout will be deleted. If a workbench foot is selected for, a selection menu for the hanging position appears next to it. Here you can choose between a suspended cabinet or a workbench drawer. Finally, it is possible to change the workbench foot from height adjustable to a fixed height. Please note that only the heights 800 mm and 850 mm are available. The drawer cabinet can now be configured by clicking on it and selecting the desired drawers. For more detailed information, watch the drawer cabinet video. If the workbench is to have dimensions other than the standard dimensions, a variable plate must be selected. Any dimension in width and depth can be entered for this worktop. Maximum 10 to 15 meters, depending on the worktop material. The worktop is automatically divided into sections if the dimensions exceed the maximum size for a single plate. With the number of parts, the panel can be divided into more sections as required. The dimensions for the sections that can be changed. If the maximum size for a section is exceeded, it is automatically reset to the maximum. The last piece is automatically calculated to the remaining dimension. The rest of the configuration is identical to the standard workbench. To create a workbench combination, it is best to start with a variable panel with a housing on the left-hand side. The width and depth of the worktop should be smaller than the existing cabinet to make positioning easier. To insert further cabinets, these are inserted from the drawer cabinet folder. The newly inserted cabinet can now be pulled onto the existing cabinet until it snaps into place flush. The cabinet can now be changed to the correct size. The process can then simply be repeated. A vice cabinet can also be inserted here, which can be found in the workbench substructures. Once all cabinets have been inserted, the worktop dimensions can be determined by activating the dimensioning function in the settings at the top right. If a cabinet is now selected, the external dimensions can be seen. These must now be added together. Finally, all cabinets can now be filled. Workstation systems can be started with a configuration example. The selection does not depend on the type. This can be changed. This can be done in the type field. The foot depth can be adjusted in the depth field. The side field is only required if the foot is used alone and not in the configuration. In the height field, the height adjustment of the table can be displayed. The table width determines the width of the workbench top on the workstation. The color changes the color of all attachments of the table. Various accessories can now be added. The material of the workbench top can be selected under Workbench Top. This allows you to select the worktop depth and thickness. Universal attachments can also be added here on the top or on the legs. These have the same width as the workbench top. The support column height can be changed. The energy channel and the perforated rear panels can also be configured. To configure the energy channel, simply click on the channel and then select the country and the desired modules. To return to the table configuration, click on the left foot. A base cabinet can be inserted on the left and right sides. The cabinet width, depth, and height appear here. The cabinet can be configured by clicking on the housing. To configure universal superstructures, you can start again with a configuration example, or you can take a left-hand support column and configure it. This example immediately shows how the superstructures are inserted on a workbench. To start the configuration, click on the left-hand support column, parent level, and click on Configure. Firstly, there is the support column type, which can be mounted on the plate, mounted on the substructure, or for wall mounting. Next, the height can be selected. For support columns on the substructure, the usable height is this -350 mm. The mounting position is only required if the support column is used alone. The color of the support columns. The color of the accessories changes all other parts. From a support column height of 1050 mm, it is possible to select a bracket. This can be selected for each individual support column, further menus for the respective units. For Unit 1, the width between the first two support columns can be selected. Here you can select the bracket for the second support column. 3 different panels can be selected for the energy channel. The backwall panels show all available options in the current version. In Unit 2, a further support pillar can be added and the distance to the existing one can be changed again. The menus that appear are identical to those of Unit 1. To configure the energy channel, click on the energy channel once the superstructures are ready. Here you can select the country and then the desired energy elements and modules. To return to the configuration, click on the left support column. To add attachments to a bracket, click on it. To add attachments to a field, use the one on the left. A lighting support of the correct length can be selected here. Lighting can now be selected. The length of the lighting can also be adjusted. Switching on the lighting has no effect here and is intended for display in the pCon planner. For hexagonal workbenches, you can start again with an example for the configuration. The panel thickness of the multiplex panel can be changed. The color of the housing and the color of the fronts and all accessories. The lock of the drawer cabinets can be changed. A cabinet cover can be added for the cover in the center. The division of the drawers can be customized. This is applied to all 6 cabinets. A single or double-tier energy top can be selected. The energy modules can be customized by clicking on the respective panel of the energy top. To return to the configuration, click on the workbench plate. It is also possible to select vices. After selecting, the design of the vice can be customized. Test and control workstations are best started with one of the configuration examples. Firstly, the roller shutter can be opened or closed. For electrification, there is a choice of a panel without electrification or the national version. There is a choice of 2 different materials for the workbench top. An adjustable shelf can also be inserted. There is a choice of 4 different options for the left and right substructures. The height of these substructures can be adjusted in the next menu. The color of the entire product can be adjusted under Color Accessories. To fill the housing under the Quality station, click on it. Here you can choose between a pull-out shelf or appliance pull-out, adjustable shelf and electrification in the respective national version. Finally, a door and the appropriate lock can be selected.